Thanks. Hi, I'm Alison, and this is Dan, and we're two of the co-founders of InstaEDU. And because you haven't seen enough stock photo models today, this is David. And right now, David's life sucks. It's 11:30 p.m., he's at a geometry assignment due in the morning, and he can't figure out the last problem. He wants to give up and go to bed. But fortunately, he recently signed up for InstaEDU, which allows anyone to work with a tutor from a top university on demand. And while David is sitting frustrated at his kitchen table, tens of thousands of math geniuses from schools like MIT and Stanford are sitting around their dorm rooms, hanging out on Facebook. So David goes to InstaEDU.com. His assignment is on finding the area of polygons, so he types that in. As soon as David hits search, InstaEDU immediately starts sending GChat and Facebook chat messages to tutors who are currently online and available on one of those clients. Each individual tutor at one of these top schools, if they have time, can choose to jump in and work with David, or pass if they're doing something else, like their own homework. And that's one of the really cool things about InstaEDU. Because it plugs into the platforms that these tutors are already using, we're able to match up students like David who need a hand with top tutors who are currently available at that very moment. It's a great synergy. So as soon as the tutor clicks through, David's going to see their information. Unfortunately, right now it seems like we're still waiting. Oh, there we go. So it actually takes an average of about 49 seconds for InstaEDU to find a tutor, and I would bet that was actually just in that range. So here we go. Looks like we have Ann R. She goes to Harvard. She's a math major, and literally, 30 seconds ago, she was probably doing something else. Saw that David needed help, and bam, jumped in and is ready to go and work with him. But I have a confession for you guys. It wasn't David that did the actual search. It was Dan over here at the computer. And Anne doesn't realize that we are in front of a live audience of several hundred people. She thinks she's about to jump in and help one single student. So we're not going to subject her to going up on the big screen.
Do it.
That's not fair. But I do want you guys to see the brand new lesson workspace that we're launching. So we actually recorded a session last night. So David's not going to work with Anne from Harvard, unfortunately, but he is going to work with Joey from Stanford. They jump into the session together and immediately can connect over video chat. If David doesn't feel comfortable, maybe he's a little bit shy, he can also choose to use audio. But tonight he wants the full experience. He goes ahead and uploads the homework assignment that he's working on right now, actually the individual problem in this case. And now Joey can see it, they can look at it and draw on it together, and Joey can teach David how to actually solve the problem. 6 months ago, David probably would have just called it quits and went to bed. But now he's not only going to finish his assignment, but he's going to actually learn how to do the problem, so that when he has a test next week, he can do it again at that point. Yes, David probably should have planned ahead, probably shouldn't have been doing the assignment at 11:30, but not all students plan ahead, as something you may remember from your days as a student or if you have kids. And fortunately, we are also working on some features to help more proactive students. And soon, students like David will be able to schedule lessons in advance if they know they have a test coming up, or lessons with a tutor that they've worked with and know that they like. Getting to the point where we can help students like David has been really exciting for us, mainly because it's a problem that we saw over and over again. And that brings us to our first lesson. Start small. At InstaEDU, our team actually started out with an in-home tutoring company. We literally paid a developer in LA $600 to build our first website and hired 14 tutors from Stanford. We then matched them up with students in the Palo Alto area, and from that we were able to learn a lot about where the needs still existed in the tutoring market. We saw this on-demand need, and we saw the need to lower the pricing. We also, because it was a cash-generating business, were able to build out a team of 5 people before ever raising any money. The second lesson that we learned is that quality in online education is making a comeback. In the first generation, a lot of online education platforms were purely trying to lower the price, and as a result, quality suffered. But as you may have seen with the recent surge of new platforms, Khan Academy, Harvard and MIT partnering up for edX, it's possible to both create a high-quality learning experience with great teachers and lower the cost. For example, at InstaEDU, we hear constantly from parents that they really like that they know their student is getting this exposure to a Harvard student, they know what they're doing. It's not just someone random on the internet. And we're able to drastically lower the cost of online tutoring because these are students that never have to leave their dorm rooms. Thank you very much. And if you want to brush up on your geometry or any other subject, you can actually use this link to get 20 free minutes on InstaEDU.
Awesome. Well done. Okay. Judges, what did you think of instant, Facebook, connected, tutorials, Ivy League, tutors, right?
Yep, all the above.
How much does it cost?
The first 10 minutes are free for every student, and after that, it's 50 cents a minute.
What is the average session time? For
right now, it's about 20 minutes, but we're seeing a really wide range. So we see sessions as short as 3 minutes when someone has a really quick question, and as long as an hour and a half.
Okay.
How do you make sure that the tutors are reliable?
A few ways. When tutors sign up, they actually go through an application process. So we get to learn a little bit about both what they can tutor and their history, what they tutored before. And they do have to all be students at top 25 universities right now. From there, actually at the end of every session, the student has an opportunity to rate the tutor. So we actually just launched into public beta 2 weeks ago, so we're not using that information yet, but you can imagine in the future we'll be able to get a lot smarter about who we match with who for what subject.
Have you kicked out any tutors?
We haven't had any real issues to date, but again, it's been 2 weeks.
Do they have to be Harvard or does it have to be like Ivy League?
Top 25 U.S. universities,
Top
plus
25.
Oxford and Cambridge right now. So we've done the majority of our recruiting at Ivy League, Stanford, MIT, Caltech, Duke, those schools.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, and eventually we know that there's a lot of smart tutors at other schools, and we want to address that.
Just not as smart.
No, there's plenty of smart tutors there. But in terms of, the first...
It's okay. Facebook was started about Ivy League schools only.
Yeah.
We understand.
What's sort of the order of magnitude of the dollars a tutor can make?
It's really infinite, especially when we get into pre-scheduled sessions. So right now, tutors make $20 an hour for their time.
Okay.
So it just depends how much they want to work, and especially as they can start building up regular clients, that helps.
Is $20 an hour just too cheap?
No. If you're working an on-campus job, you're making $10, $11 an hour. And at InstaEDU, you never have to leave your dorm room. So we actually have a really easy time recruiting tutors at this point.
Okay.
What kind of content can be uploaded into the screen? I noticed there was that problem, kind of looked nice and digital up there. A lot of classrooms still aren't using content like that.
Yeah, so that was a JPEG or a PNG, I think.
Okay.
So that platform that we're using right now, you can upload docs, images, it has writing, you can draw shapes and lines. That's another big thing for us, is really trying to create a full virtual experience. And so this is brand new. We're still working out some kinks with that. But eventually, really, anything that you're working on, you should be able to put into InstaEDU, whether it's screen sharing or anything else, or drawing on an iPad eventually. That could be really cool.
How do you recruit students? I can assume that if you're paying tutor $20 an hour, that's easy to get if you're only narrowing your recruiting down to the top 25 schools. But how do you get high school students or folks that would want to use this on the service?
So we're still super early, so we're still experimenting with that. We actually got a lot of our early students by working directly with student groups at colleges. So we are serving both the high school and the college market in terms of getting academic help. Going forward, we want to run a number of tests, especially reaching out to moms, getting in with the mom community. But the other big thing that we find super exciting is this huge boom in online self-directed learning platforms. So for instance, if MIT is putting their courses online, that's awesome. Anyone can go and watch those lectures. But if you're taking the class alongside 50,000 other students, you can't raise your hand in lecture. You don't have access to a TA. You can't go into office hours. But something like InstaEDU could plug in there, and after watching the lecture, you could talk with an MIT student who actually took the class last semester.
So I could API into this if I was Motion Math, for example, and they came out with an algebra, they could upsell the people buying the algebra Motion Math with a live tutor inside the app and just hit your API and pull somebody in?
Yeah, exactly. We see, right now that doesn't exist, but we see a lot of potential for partnerships there and think that whole area is super exciting and is going to keep growing a lot.
And have you guys found any market for using this in an actual school-based classroom, like kids who are, as a way to replace a teacher having to answer every question for kids in a class?
So we actually have had a few schools come to us and ask about this kind of thing. So we've been talking with a charter school who basically said, after school, there's too many kids that are coming in to ask questions, and the teacher doesn't have time to chat with all of them. So they really like it as a way to both lighten that teacher load, let the kids get access to the help they need, and again, it exposed kids to college. All of a sudden, they're interacting with Yale students and Columbia students and Harvard students, and that's pretty cool if you're in high school.
Awesome.
Are you able to record the session that you have with the person?
Right now, no, but
Okay.
that's something that's definitely on our radar that could be super useful, especially if you want to then go back and refer to it before.
And
your
something you
next
could
test.
charge for too. I mean, you've
Yeah.
paid the hourly, and then you can pay.
And if
extra
you're,
to keep it.
well, I guess if you're needing tutoring, you might not be that bright. But if you know how to use QuickTime, you could, if you had QuickTime Pro, actually just screen record and
Yeah. Hey, we have
record
a
the
lot
whole
of
thing.
bright people who. I mean, we've seen
I'm joking,
Stanford
I'm
students coming in and using it finals for this.
Well, the Stanford kids obviously got to learn something from the Harvard kids, right?
Hey.
I'm joking. I know the Harvard kids don't know what they're talking about. Okay, awesome, very creative. And how long has the product been in the market?
So it's been in public beta for 2 weeks. We were in a very small alpha for about 3 months before that.
And have you been able to get a conversion funnel going, like buying Facebook ads, since this is a Facebook-driven kind of thing? Do those
Facebook ads actually
work?
haven't been super effective for us. We tried it out, but the issue there is that we really need to hit people when they have that need. And if you're just seeing an ad on Facebook,
So that would be a Google search.
Yeah, so SEO is something that we think will be extremely effective because there are literally tens of thousands of queries each year for algebra help, tens of millions of queries each year for algebra help, physics help, those kind of things.
Or a physics tutor. And you
Yeah.
are you going to make profiles of each of those tutors?
So right now they each have a mini profile, and we've been talking about how we can build those out, especially as you can start to schedule future lessons. People will want to be much more selective.
And they're going to
about
be
it.
rated, I guess.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Any thoughts from the audience? We have one. Somebody have a microphone to run back there?
I can speak loudly. I'm a teacher.
Okay. Go ahead, teacher. Speak loudly.
My name's Jack West. I teach nearby. Would you consider developing a walled garden where this sort of follows to John's question? You could have students within a high school, tutoring students within that high school, and the exchange could be also a fundraiser for the school.
So that's something that we haven't really done a lot of deep dive into yet, but that's something we could definitely look at. And it makes sense. I mean, we thought about it more in the college atmosphere where, hey, I took that class last semester, now I can help you. So I could also see that applying to the high school level.
Awesome. Okay, let's hear it for InstaEDU. Very creative.